My dear chosen one, when the High Command has eyes on you, you are no longer ordinary. You are not overlooked, ignored, or dismissed as just another person drifting through existence. You have stepped into a realm where your life has been elevated to a higher classification, and from that moment forward, everything around you changes. Your steps are tracked, your path is shielded, and your destiny is guarded by powers beyond what the natural eye can see. This is not paranoia, it is protocol. Heaven does not waste resources watching over those who have no weight in the eternal plan. The closer you move toward your divine assignment, the heavier the surveillance becomes, because your life carries significance that cannot be forfeited. From the day you were marked as one carrying destiny, you stopped living unnoticed. The unseen world recognized it before you did. The angels of the Lord encamp around those who fear Him, and that encampment around your life is proof of your classification. Like a general who would never waste satellites on an ordinary soldier, heaven does not waste eyes on the casual or the disposable. You, chosen one, are being treated like spiritual state-level intel. And if you have ever wondered why storms that should have destroyed you missed, why traps that should have ended you collapsed, or why betrayals that should have crushed you were revealed just in time, it was not luck. It was coverage, a shield moving faster than human reflexes, guarding you without pause because your destiny is too strategic to lose. Understand this: the fact that High Command has eyes on you is not a burden. It is a declaration. It is heaven's official announcement that your protection is non-negotiable. Nothing and no one can override what has already been decreed over your life. This is why the enemy trembles, why people whisper, and why circumstances seem to conspire but never prevail. Your existence is classified, and your survival has been legislated at a higher level. If this is already stirring something in your spirit, then make it known right now. Type in the comments, "I am covered by divine command," and seal that truth with your declaration. Don't forget to press like, subscribe, and activate the bell, because this journey is only beginning, and you don't want to miss the revelations that are unfolding. Surveillance is not about distrust, it is about investment. High Command allocates attention where there is irreversible value, and your life has been appraised as too costly to misplace. You don't surround hay with guards. You surround treasure with walls, sensors, and watchmen on the towers. In the spirit, you are that treasure, marked, cataloged, and routed under protective custody, because your fall would bankrupt futures tied to your name. Psalm 121 whispers that the Keeper of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps, and that is not poetry for you. It is policy. Your timeline has triggers set to intercept collisions before they happen. Your route is mapped with contingency lanes, and your heart is monitored for overloads that could cause you to abandon the mission. They watch because you are worth it. They watch because you cannot be replaced. You don't track what you're willing to lose. You track what must arrive intact. The eyes over you are a living memo that heaven expects delivery, of assignments, of breakthroughs, of generational freedom riding on your obedience. Think of the ark covered by cherubim, guarded with protocols no one could casually touch. Your calling carries that kind of "do not mishandle" seal. That seal explains divine reroutes that looked inconvenient but were actually surgical precision, removing you from corridors set to implode. It explains why conversations split open at the perfect minute, exposing traitors before you signed away your peace. Ephesians 2:10 says you were created for good works, prepared beforehand. Surveillance ensures you actually walk in them. Your monitored life is not a leash, it is a lifeline. The difference is intention. Control seeks to limit, but guardianship seeks to deliver. High command is not breathing down your neck to police your every move. They are pacing beside you to ensure you make it to what was written. There is leniency for learning, but zero tolerance for losing you. When fatigue clouds your discernment, they turn up the warnings. When grief narrows your vision, they widen your lane. Isaiah 30:21 promises, "You'll hear a voice behind you. This is the way. Walk in it." And that voice often sounds like a closed door you wanted, an unexpected delay you resented, or a sudden peace that redirected your feet. Heaven would rather offend your schedule than forfeit your destiny. So measure your worth by the weight of your guard. The surveillance surrounding you is the invoice of your significance. Jericho's walls fell because a chosen people had an appointment with promise. Your obstacles echo that story. They are scheduled to collapse on cue because the convoy behind you cannot stall indefinitely. Every day you are escorted by mercies new at dawn and goodness that stalks you at dusk. Every night your file is updated with interventions you didn't notice, and every morning assignments queue up, ready for a soul who is still standing. That you are still here is not coincidence. It is compliance with a decree that said, "Preserve this one at all costs." Now understand the ratio. The guard is proportional to the threat. Small lives attract small resistance, but weighty mandates provoke weaponized opposition. If your shield feels heavy, it is because the artillery aimed at you is heavier. You are not imagining the pressure. You are reading the scale correctly. Michael does not draw his sword for playground scuffles. He draws it when empires tremble at the thought of your awakening. The protection you experience is not deluxe packaging. It is standard issue for the battlefield you're on. To carry less covering would be negligence, and heaven is not negligent with what changes bloodlines. This is why others can live reckless and remain untouched while you are intercepted at the first sign of drift. Do not misread it. Their mission profile is not yours. The enemy does not waste premier tactics on disposable targets, and heaven does not waste premier defense on trivial journeys. You, however, are high value. Your worship destabilizes dark economies. Your yes disarms ancient agreements. Your voice remaps rooms when you speak truth. So the parameters around you are tight, not because you are fragile, but because your cargo is volatile to darkness. 2 Corinthians 4:7 calls it treasure in jars of clay. And treasure demands alarm systems that clay does not always understand. And when people misinterpret your guard as favoritism, remember, necessity outranks optics. The convoy around you is not about optics, it's about outcomes. What looks like an unfair advantage is simply the minimum viable shield for the assignment on your life. If your guard seems overbuilt, it's because the ambushes mapped against you are overfunded. If your exits appear choreographed, it's because your adversaries laid traps like architects. Heaven read the blueprints first. Therefore, the sentries were stationed, the routes were hardened, and the contingencies were authorized, long before the first snare was set. Your protection is not an apology. It is an answer. Count every layer of defense as a testimony of battles you never had to fight. For every storm that met your boat, there were 10 diverted at sea. For every arrow that grazed your skin, 1,000 snapped in midair. Psalm 91 is not a lullaby. It is a legal document stamped with, "No evil shall befall you." And the clause, "1,000 at your side," was written for days just like yours. You are the proof that preservation is policy. And policy does not flinch under propaganda. It enforces outcomes until the assignment is complete. You will never see most of what has been plotted against you. and that is precisely why your protection is non-negotiable. Darkness whispers in hidden chambers, schemes form in silence, and traps are laid where your eyes cannot reach. By the time human wisdom would detect it, the damage would already be done. But High Command never leaves you to your own limited perception. Psalm 91:11 says, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." That is not poetic exaggeration. It is reality for you. The invisible shield around your life absorbs the impact of weapons you never even knew were fired. That's why you're still standing when statistics said you should have been lost. It wasn't luck, it was coverage. There are moments you thought you survived by quick reflexes, sharp discernment, or sheer intuition. But let's be honest, there were attacks too stealthy for any human eye to catch, betrayals too polished to be spotted by suspicion, sicknesses too subtle to be traced until it was too late. Yet, they did not land. Why? Because what you couldn't see was seen for you, and what you couldn't fight was neutralized before it touched your life. The Lord Himself said in Isaiah 54:17, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and the angels ensure that promise is executed in real time." You are walking proof that survival is not based on cleverness. It is based on coverage. Enemies confuse your preservation with coincidence. They assume you just happened to escape, that you simply dodged what was meant to take you out. But the truth is that your surveillance was already tracking movements you could never overhear, intercepting conversations that intended to plot your downfall, and rerouting disasters while you were asleep. You never saw the fire because it was extinguished before the smoke even reached your lungs. Heaven has placed a monitoring system on your life that scans beyond your natural horizon, ensuring you live under a defense line no enemy can breach undetected. This is why you cannot resent the eyes on you. Access always comes with surveillance. The higher you rise, the closer the watch becomes. In the natural world, high-security zones require cameras, locks, and guards at every door. In the spiritual, your life has entered such a zone. Not because heaven seeks to restrain you, but because what you carry has become too important to risk. You are entrusted with influence, authority, and assignments that ripple into families, communities, and generations. Privilege never travels alone. It always brings guardianship, and your guardianship has been upgraded with every step you've climbed. Never mistake this guardianship for control. The eyes on you are not policing your every move to diminish freedom. They are proof that your future has already been deemed too critical to lose. It is the difference between suspicion and stewardship. Suspicion limits. Stewardship ensures delivery. When heaven watches, it is not to bind you, it is to preserve what has been entrusted to you. 1 Peter 1:5 says we are shielded by God's power until the coming of salvation, meaning your covering is not fragile, it is enforcement. The more responsibility you carry, the heavier the surveillance, because heaven will not allow you to walk unguarded. That is why visibility often feels heavy. As your voice grows louder and your presence reaches further, the guard around your life increases. It's not punishment, it's proof. Your downfall would not just affect you, it would devastate many. And so, the eyes remain close. The walls stand firm. The alarms remain active. It is not overprotection. It is necessary protection. Enemies will mistake it for excess, but heaven calls it standard procedure for one who has stepped into higher ground. So understand this: surveillance is not restriction, it is recognition. Recognition that you carry access others do not, that your words shift realities, and your obedience transforms nations. You are not watched because you are weak. You are watched because your influence is costly. High command cannot afford to let your assignment fail. That is why your life is not just preserved. It is classified, marked, guarded, and escorted toward fulfillment, whether you fully recognize it or not. Your life, chosen one, is a national security matter in the spirit. That may sound dramatic, but it is the closest human language can come to the truth. Nations lock away intelligence in vaults, guard it with armed patrols, encrypt it with codes, and classify it at the highest level, because if it fell into the wrong hands, entire systems would collapse. In the same way, your calling is considered sensitive material in heaven's strategy. If it were intercepted, silenced, or derailed, the loss would ripple across generations. That is why your protection is not casual. It is enforced at the highest level. Psalm 125:2 declares, "As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people both now and forevermore." You are surrounded in the same way, an immovable perimeter around your destiny. Your very existence has been coded into heaven's defense system, and nothing moves without triggering alarms that send angels into motion on your behalf. This is also why your battles feel so extreme. You are not being opposed by petty frustrations or surface-level irritations. You are being resisted by forces that understand the weight of what you carry. The warfare against you reveals the scale of your importance. The enemy knows that if you rise into the fullness of your assignment, entire bloodlines will be healed, territories will be reclaimed, and strongholds will crumble. That is why they fight so violently, and that is also why heaven shields you so intensely. Your life is handled as though the outcome of entire nations depends on it, because in a very real sense, it does. You are not small, not insignificant, not replaceable. You are a classified operation of God's kingdom, and nothing about your survival is negotiable. But protection is not only defensive, it is preventive. Too many assume that being guarded means only being rescued at the last minute, like an ambulance arriving after the crash. Yet heaven operates at a higher level. You are not just pulled out of fires, you are prevented from ever stepping into many of them. Countless disasters have been erased before they even had a name. Schemes against your future were dismantled before you even thought to pray about them. Attacks were canceled while you were asleep, rerouted before you took the wrong turn, or blocked before you entered the wrong room. That is why your life has felt strangely preserved, even in seasons where nothing seemed to make sense. You have been kept, not because you saw every danger, but because prevention is the highest form of divine strategy. And here is what many don't realize. You only notice the storms you survived, not the ones erased before you arrived. You see the betrayals revealed, but not the conversations silenced before they reached you. You thank God for the sickness that was healed, but not the countless plagues that never touched your body. This is why your gratitude should run deeper than survival. It should stretch into recognition of prevention. Psalm 91:3 says, "Surely he will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence." That verse is not about escape after entrapment. It is about never being caught in the first place. Your journey is more shielded than you could ever imagine, and the very peace you live in is proof that your enemy's plans never even made it off the drawing board. Yet, being guarded always makes you a target of envy. People see the outcomes but never the battles behind them. They watch storms skip over you, disasters bypass your house, or betrayals collapse before they touch you, and they assume you are just lucky or specially favored. What they fail to see is that the level of protection around your life is not a luxury. It is a necessity. If the guard over you were lowered even slightly, the concentrated weight of the warfare against you would crush you. You are not guarded because you are fragile. You are guarded because what you carry is dangerous to the enemy. The covering around your life is not pampering. It is preservation. Others misinterpret the shield as favoritism, but heaven knows it is simply survival. If they carried what you carry, they would require the same level of guardianship. Let them whisper. Let them assume. Let them compare. Their envy cannot alter your reality. You are heavily watched because you are heavily targeted. Their misunderstanding does not change the truth. It only proves that your shield is visible even to those who don't understand it. And here is where you must stand firm. Never waste your time trying to explain divine protection to those who only see outcomes but not battles. They cannot comprehend the weight of what stalks you in the unseen realm, and therefore they cannot understand the necessity of what shields you. The jealousy of others is merely confirmation that your preservation is noticeable. Remember, Exodus 14:14 says, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." That stillness is your power, even when the noise around you rises. The shield around your life is not silent. It is a declaration. It speaks louder than arguments, louder than defenses, louder than explanations. Every enemy watching you is confronted with the same message. This one is off limits. Your protection is both defense and announcement. It tells the spiritual realm that touching you comes with consequences too heavy to bear. And history proves it. The attempts against you that collapsed inexplicably, the plots that dissolved without reason, the traps that fell apart at the last minute. These were not random. They were the shield speaking, enforcing heaven's decree over your life. Even if your enemies mock it outwardly, deep down they know there are invisible lines drawn around you, and crossing them carries a cost they cannot afford. Your protection is not fragile. It is enforced. Too many imagine divine safety as a delicate bubble, as though one mistake, one weak prayer, or one bad day would cause it to shatter. But what covers your life is not dependent on human mood swings or emotions. It is legislated from above. When High Command declares that you are shielded, that decree stands like law, written in eternal stone. Nations enforce their borders, whether their citizens are awake or asleep. In the same way, heaven enforces its covering over you, whether you feel strong or exhausted. Your shield is not optional insurance, it is binding legislation. Isaiah 41:10 assures us, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you." That strengthening is not fragile. It is enforced, and no enemy gets a vote in it. This explains why attacks crumble before they even start. Some adversaries miscalculate, thinking your protection is fragile, thinking they can push you like they push others. Yet, the moment they test the boundary, they encounter consequences they did not prepare for. Heaven's shield does not negotiate. It governs. It does not request permission for your survival. It demands it. Every enemy who dared to touch what was marked as untouchable learned the hard way that divine enforcement is not symbolic. It is active, immediate, and unavoidable. That is why the darkness has been forced to retreat so many times in your life. What was legislated over you is stronger than what was plotted against you, and the law of heaven is non-negotiable. But protection does not only cover you from external threats. It guards you even from yourself. This is one of the most humbling dimensions of being chosen. Everyone has blind spots, areas of weakness, and moments of recklessness. Left unchecked, those flaws could sabotage your own destiny. But High Command takes them into account and surrounds you anyway. How many times did you almost walk into relationships that would have destroyed your peace, yet something stopped you? How many times did you nearly take a path that looked harmless, but would have delayed your purpose for years, only to find the door suddenly shut? You were not spared because you were always wise. You were spared because heaven refused to let your immaturity cancel your future. Grace stood guard until growth caught up. This is why you survived decisions that should have cost you everything. The reckless words you almost spoke but didn't. The plans you almost executed but were rerouted. The environments you almost embraced but were pulled away from. Every one of those moments was proof that your life is not being left in your own unsteady hands. Psalm 37:23 says, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord." And that ordering often feels like redirection, restraint, or even frustration. But in truth, it is preservation. You are not only being shielded from others, you are being preserved from your own undoing. Your destiny is too important to collapse under human mistakes. So mercy builds guardrails until wisdom is strong enough to carry the load. And know this, the shield over your life is customized, not generic. This is not one-size-fits-all protection. It has been carefully designed according to your exact purpose, your unique threats, and the specific warfare assigned to stop you. That is why what shields you may not shield another, and what they can handle unguarded might crush you without intervention. Some doors open for you easily because they were assigned to your path. Others remain sealed because they were never yours to walk through. The calibration of your covering is strategic, not accidental. Heaven studied your route, analyzed your opposition, and built a shield precisely tailored to ensure your safe arrival. This is why the enemy fails when he tries recycled tactics. What pierced someone else cannot pierce you, not because you are invincible in every way, but because your covering was crafted specifically against what was built for your downfall. When you see attempts against you collapse before they gain traction, remember that your protection is not generic. It was built with your blueprint in mind. That is why you cannot compare your life to anyone else's. Your protection is tied to your assignment, and your assignment is unlike any other. Heaven does not waste effort. Your guard is a perfect match to your destiny, ensuring you are preserved for the exact future written for you. And the very fact that you are being watched so closely proves one thing: you are in motion. Nobody wastes resources tracking what is going nowhere. A still target is not a threat, but a moving one is. The constant surveillance over your life is evidence that you are advancing. Every step you take shifts the map of futures, breaks ground for those who will follow, and realigns territories. That is why your life feels under pressure. It is because heaven and hell both know you are not stagnant. Your progress cannot be ignored. Every angel assigned to you, every enemy monitoring you, every unseen eye fixed on your journey is responding to one truth. You are going somewhere monumental, and your arrival has already been factored into history. Enemies often confuse silence with weakness. They see seasons in your life where nothing seems to be moving, where doors remain shut, and heaven feels quiet, and they assume you are vulnerable. What they do not realize is that the stillness around your life is not emptiness, it is surveillance mode. Every whisper of gossip, every plan of betrayal, every weapon being formed is being recorded, tracked, and dismantled before it even launches. The delay is not neglect, it is strategy. Exodus 14:14 declares, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." That stillness is not proof of absence, it is proof of precision. Heaven allows enemies to reveal their entire hand before shutting them down, ensuring their downfall is undeniable and final. This is why you must never mistake divine delay for abandonment. What looks like silence is often the sound of God calculating, of angels positioning, of heaven's timing aligning. The pause is never weakness. It is the strengthening of your defense. The longer your enemies circle, the deeper their actions are catalogued against them, and the heavier their judgment becomes. By the time they strike, the counter-strike is already loaded. The stillness that confuses them is the very thing that guarantees their defeat. What feels like waiting is actually a courtroom building the case for your vindication, ensuring the verdict will always fall in your favor. Eyes on you means future on you. The level of protection surrounding you has nothing to do with where you are right now and everything to do with where you are headed. High Command is not guarding you based on your present activity. They are guarding you based on your trajectory. Your shield is scaled for the weight of tomorrow, not just the struggles of today. That is why you feel covered in ways that seem excessive compared to your current stage. The truth is, the enemy isn't fighting your present. He's fighting your future. He sees the potential of your destiny and is terrified of what happens when you fully rise. Heaven knows this too, which is why your protection already matches the level of where you're going. This is why your resistance sometimes feels exaggerated. You wonder why so many obstacles come against you when you feel like you haven't even done enough to warrant that level of attack. The reason is simple. Hell is not threatened by who you were yesterday, but by who you are about to become tomorrow. Your future is already speaking in the spirit realm, and your enemies are responding to it. That is also why heaven surrounds you so heavily. Psalm 121, 8 promises. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. That promise is futuristic. It covers every step you haven't even taken yet. You are guarded as though you have already arrived, because in heaven's timeline, you already have. So let this message not only encourage you, but empower you. If your destiny has already been legislated at the highest level, then you can walk boldly into your tomorrow. Do not shrink back in fear. Do not live as though you are optional. Rise with the confidence of one who is escorted by heaven's armies. And right now, if you receive this truth, type in the comments, "I walk under non-negotiable protection." Seal it with your words. Let it echo into the unseen realm, and remind yourself daily that you are never walking alone. I also want to pause and say thank you to everyone who supports this channel through Buy Me a Coffee. Your generosity allows us to keep producing these messages with excellence and reach more chosen ones across the world. If you feel led to join in that support, the link is in the first pinned comment. And don't forget, like this video, subscribe, and activate the notification bell so you never miss the truths that will continue to strengthen your journey. Every interaction helps spread this word to those who need it most. As we close, I encourage you to keep feeding your spirit. Watch the video that's now on your screen or dive into our playlist, and let these revelations build you up one after another. Your life is too important to live unguarded, and heaven has already decided you will not be lost. Until next time, chosen one, stay strong, stay alert, and walk boldly in the covering that surrounds you. You are not fragile. You are fortified. You are not overlooked. You are classified. And above all, your protection is and always will be non-negotiable.